Okay, let's start. So, OASIS-DB, CPAN for OCaml. So, it's a project I started something like 9 months ago. I've been spending quite a lot of time on it, and it's funded in part by GenStreet. So, OASIS-DB is based on an underscore OASIS file. An underscore OASIS file is something that you put in your source code, which basically is used to generate your build system. So you can use it, you cannot use it, but it's very useful when you want to create projects. I use it for most of my own projects, and it's quite useful. It's quite maintainable, it's quite readable. You see here is the real life underscore OASIS file. So you just have the name of the project, its version, a short synopsis, author license. Here you have the description of a library, and this library is quite complex because we use a C stub, and we even use an CC opt option, which is something quite advanced in terms of, I mean, I don't do that for every of my project. Here, and in this two section, I describe a test that is depending on OUnit, because I use OUnit, and fast random, which is a library I just created here. And here is the test I will run using this command, which is just the command I created here. So this project is a real project. The main difference with the real underscore OASIS file is that the description is longer in the OASIS file. I just cut it here. But it's quite readable. It's readable by a machine, and it's readable by a human. It's all you have to maintain to describe your build dependency in your project. The rest is generated using this file. We generate a full OCaml build system using this file. We generate a configure script using this file, and we install everything using this file. This is enough for a single project. So, I didn't check I just don't make it out of the thin air. I just copy what is in tarball. Tarball is exactly the same kind of file for OCaml. It's quite powerful, and I think it's one of the reasons of the success of OCaml. So that's the reason why I copy it. And as you see, it's a simple text file, and I think that beginners can understand it. There's a lot of people who come to me and ask, why don't you make it using OCaml syntax, defining variable, record, and everything like that? The answer is simple. Is because when you start a project and you are a beginner, you don't know OCaml syntax. So if you need for your build system, if you need for your makefile to know OCaml, to build OCaml, it's a kind of bootstrap. It's quite complex for a beginner to enter here. So I do prefer something a little more simple. You have less powerful expression, but at least it's something which can be easily parsed, and I provide a library to parse it, so you can use it for your own program. Next, the big picture of OASIS work. You start with your underscore OASIS files that I just showed you before. You run OASIS setup on it, and you generate a lot of extra files in your project. Some of them are directly related to the build system. These two files, for example, are files for OCaml build. They are specific to OCaml build. They have been extracted from underscore OASIS and put where they should be. You don't have to take care of it when you are a beginner. And you generate a big file, a big which is setup.ml, which contains the runtime of the build system. This is something that doesn't depend on OASIS. I mean, when you generate the setup.ml, you don't need OASIS anymore. That's done. You can distribute your project with it without any additional build dependency. It's self-contained. No more dependency. Just setup.ml and OCaml. That's the only thing you need when you have your setup.ml. So then, you run the configure state, which is basically calling the setup.ml with OCaml and configure as arguments. You just do the same thing for build, for test exactly the same thing, and for install exactly the same thing. You must know that here I take the example of the OCaml build generated build system, but you can also define your own command to run. So for example, if you have a makefile based build system, you can just say that the build system will call make all, or we will call make all opt if you have a native compiler. And same for test and install. So if you have an existing build system and you don't want to change it, you can still use this as the standard entry points in the build system and take advantages of the rest of OASIS. So a beginner can just stay at the level of the underscore OASIS. He can, if he wants, he can just customize the underscore OASIS. For most of the simple projects you have, it should be enough. An advanced user can customize almost anything in the project. Because, in fact, every file generated follows the same scheme. I must stop smoking. Because, in fact, in setup.ml, you have OASIS start, OASIS stop in command. And between this command, this is a generated section. And everything which is outside this command can be customized. So, this is very useful, for example, to customize underscore tags file for the OCaml build system. I made it quite often, and it helps you to fix any bugs that are in OASIS, or to have very specific rules to implement. For example, in OCaml build, you can have very specific rules that are not general at all, but very specific to your project, and you can inject in the generated build system. It won't be overwritten. So, a very quick slide. This is the advertisement slide. There's a lot of projects using it. You should use it. There's a lot of them that have been written by me, so they should not count, but I put them because it makes a lot of stuff. But there's also projects that are not even made by me, and some of them I didn't even know before writing this slide. For example, OCaml Sphinx or OCaml SQL Exp are a project, I think they are hosted on GitHub by Mauricio Fernandez. There's LWT, there's a branch of XenOps using it. Gen Street are using it also. Christoph Trossler use it also. There's people who begin to use it, and it's quite effective. I've got a lot of bug reports, but most of the bug reports are, in fact, feature requests. People would like to have more features. Today there's something like 500 downloads. This is quite good. It's available in Goddy since last week in the 3.11 branch, and it has been uploaded to Debian as well. I'm talking about OASIS. So you will be able to use it soon. And once you have OASIS, you can have OASIS-DB. So OASIS-DB is a CPAN. A CPAN, to my mind, is made of 3 points. You need metadata about your package. You need a website where you can upload freely without a lot of paperwork your package, and you need a command line tool to download from this website to your computer and build the package. So, first point, the metadata. They should be human readable. I mean, one of the key points is that it must not be something in binary formats that you need a specific tools to use. You should be able to read it. It should allow to describe your dependency in an unambiguous way, and this is a very important point. Ideally, it should also be directly useful to the upstream maintainer. I have an example about that, which talk about meta for FineLib. Meta for FineLib are easy to write, but are not directly useful for the upstream maintainer of the package. If you are a package, you have to write a meta file that you won't use when you build your package. It's something for your end user, not for you. It's for your end user. So most of the time, a meta finish by getting out of sync with what you really need. This point, this is one of the specific points where _OASIS can help, because _OASIS is used directly by you, and this is the dependency you describe in _OASIS is also used to generate the meta file and will be also used to be processed by OASIS-DB. So, next, a website where upload is permitted. We should have an immediate publication of your work. If you upload something, you don't have to go through 10 steps before getting it available for other people. It should be almost the most lightweight possible to get your package in this OASIS-DB central repository. It must provide backup for tarballs, because sometimes websites just go and you don't find the tarball anymore. This is something which is quite common, in fact. Maybe it's not the tarballs that disappear, but just the people who maintain the website that just move it elsewhere and you just lose it. And it should also serve for homepage for lightweight project. There's a lot of very, very small projects that you just don't want to publish because it will consist only of one file, and you don't want to create a tarball for it, a web page for it, a full featured Forge project or GitHub project or whatever. So you just want to upload your work somewhere to let other people use it. So the website design should also be useful for that. And last, you need a command line to upload and download from the website. It must follow the Unix way of thinking, and it must ease our user to easily design their own workflow, to create a tarball, put a tag, and then upload it. Okay, so very quickly, how it works. It will be very quick because it's very simple. You start with a simple files-utils tarball containing an _OASIS file. So a simple user can just take the tarball and use a form available on the website to upload it. Or you can use a command line interface to just upload it. Once it's uploaded, you get two immediate benefits. I mean, when I say immediate, it's within a second. You get the availability to see it in a simple web page presentation, very simple, with the field you put in your _OASIS file. And it will be published in a dist repository, which is a repository from where you can download it. So, the dist repository can be used through the install plugin of OASIS to download from the repository your files utils package and install it on your user system. So, this is how it should work. Now you will have additional benefits because there's other systems that will be able to interact with this. For example, there's something called ODB, which is a small utilities written by the guy who writes batteries, who is co-author of batteries, and which is just using a certain format for the repository. And we've got an extension in OASIS-DB to use exactly his work. I mean, I will demonstrate it right after, and you will see that it was pretty easy to set up, and there's an immediate benefit that it's simple enough to be able to have all what you want, to know what to download, what dependency to download, what to build, and in which order. And you will have interaction with other systems like Gaudi and Debian. So Gaudi is in discussion with Gert right now, and for Debian I've written a small script called OASIS to Debian, which just read your _OASIS file and generate a Debian infrastructure, and the interaction with the website will be to say to the website, if you want files utils, you can use, rather than OASIS install files utils, apt-get install lib files utils OCaml dev. And on the other way, we will use, I will use OASIS-DB to watch incoming version. So I will know when new version is coming and what are the new dependencies of this version. So a little demonstration. It will be quite quick, in fact. So here, do you see? No, you don't see. Okay. So I've prepared two versions of a library called foo. Okay. So I created a tarball which contains the _OASIS file. So let's start by asking the server the list of available package on it. No, sorry, it's a little small. Okay. So you see there's various libraries, but there's no foo in it. So I will ask to upload the tarball I just created. And okay, that's quite verbose because we are in. Oh, that's not good. Give me a second. I must start the server before. Oh, that's really, really not good. This is embarrassing. Tac, tac, tac. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so I will probably skip this part. The upload part doesn't seem like working the good way. Okay, anyway. Okay, let's go to another topic. So I will demonstrate, not found. Okay, if I start again. Okay, that's the demo effect. Let's do something else. I will ask, so I just will. So I'm totally in exception. I will ask to download OUnit and to install it. I'm not sure OUnit or well, OUnit is not a good example because I probably have it on my system. So I will ask to download and install bar, for example. Bar is listed here. It's a demo project. So I call OCamlODB.ml and I ask to install bar. So this is this command, and okay, that's not good as well. Okay, so this is a time when you said, next slide. I promise it was working yesterday. So if it worked, I should have future projects. So one is OASIS QA, which is basically to run various tests on the package you upload and to check things that are okay. So you can just inspect the code visually, let's say that, using metrics or using AUG to create whatever you want, and to give some rating about the quality of the project. This is a long-term project, interesting for if you like metrics. Then there's this two project which is based on OASIS to Debian, which I already write. It's not a perfect system, but it works more or less. And OASIS to RPM and Godiva to OASIS should take the same inspiration to, in fact, be able to easily create a package out of something downloaded from OASIS-DB. It will help to standardize entry point. We get quite a lot of help because of the standardization of the entry points in the build system. So you don't have to guess if you should call make all opt, or whatever. It lists documentation, it lists tests, so you know a lot of things about the build process. There's also an OASIS GitHub integration, which basically is very simple. When you push a tag to GitHub, OASIS should be able to detect that you put a tag in GitHub, download the project, build a tarball of it, and publish it in OASIS-DB. This would be almost magic to do that, but well, since I don't know GitHub very well, I'm calling for help on this point. And then there's this big project, OCaml platform. So, OCaml platform is the continuation of the parallel between Cabal, Package, and Cabal install with what I work on, which are OASIS, OASIS-DB, and OASIS install. Now, the next step is OCaml platform, which is a parallel with Haskell platform. Haskell platform is fully integrated with Cabal. Most of the source provided in Haskell platform use Cabal because it simplifies a lot the description of the dependency. You can do almost very simple reasoning about dependency. And as a matter of fact, because a lot of people think that we don't have enough stuff in OCaml to create an OCaml platform, in fact that's not true. I've made a point-by-point comparison with Haskell platform, and we almost have anything. So for example, here in parentheses, it's the version you have in Haskell, and the main point is what we have in OCaml. So for example, we've got Alex, which is a generic lexer for Haskell. And we've got ULEX in OCaml. We've got FGL, we've got OCaml graph in Caml. They've got quick check, we've got Kaput, they've got regex, we've got Pecre OCaml, they've got zlib, we've got CamelZip, we've got everything. I mean, there's only 3 points missing, because I must be honest, which are parsec, NTL, and parallel, which are the 3 modules of Haskell platform that have no equivalent in OCaml. And we can also add various extensions that we add in OCaml and that I find quite useful. So we need to make some choice, but that will be something. Everything here is in fact very simple to implement using OASIS-DB. And as a matter of fact, when I was working on the ODB, the thing from the lemma of batteries, I think I've done something like 80% of the work. I will show you the admin panel of ODB, but it's very simple in fact. The main work we will have to do on this is to cooperate to pick the right version of each component of it, put it in the right format so that we will be able to have some kind of common build infrastructure that can test that everything is working together and that we can simply know what options are available here. And so it's mainly it's not a little work because it's a big work, because it's coordination. But if we are able to coordinate around some point, the technical stuff behind that are quite simple and almost already done. So for this project, I need your help. So before the question, I will just show you, because I was not able to demonstrate my command line utility. So here is the development version of OASIS-DB. So you can browse by authors, for example, and you can, for example, okay, here, for example, is lightweight, the LWT stuff. So you've got various things. Here you have the demonstration of all the dependency in terms of fine lib of LWT. Here is what in terms of fine lib you are providing from LWT. If I can say something, there's you have a good summary of it. You can go directly to the DAX repo. I won't click because I'm not sure that I will go to it. Or you can browse it. Everything has been described. You can download it, of course. You can read it. For example, I need to be logged in. So log in. Okay, I understand what happens. I think I don't have the right version. Yes, I've got alpha 2, which is too old. Okay, so okay, that's there's a problem. No, okay, great. I'm not able to log in. I don't know what happens. It must be the demo effect. Too bad. So you can put commands. You have feeds with news, and you have various things. You can browse the package, and since I'm not able to log in, I won't be able to demonstrate the ODB stuff. So, for example, here is a panel where you have a version of package, and you've got 3 flavors of the ODB version. So, unstable is all the latest package, and you can pick a version and make it migrate to testing. And then, once you're happy with testing, you can promote testing to stable. We've got an admin panel for that, but okay. I don't. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. So, any questions? Yes, Richard?
Is the plan to have a list of packages that are going to be in the OCaml platform? So we're going to say it's this, 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 this.
I give an example. If someone, I cannot make the OCaml platform myself. I mean, it's very time consuming, but most of the work that has to be done is coordination work with people around. So basically, it was just a proposal. If someone step in to create this kind of thing, he will get all my help from the OASIS-DB point of view. But you can define whatever list of package you want. It was just an example to say that stop whining about Haskell against OCaml. That's not true. We have a lot of libraries. If you know where to look, we have a lot of things already in OCaml that can just match what they have in Haskell. If we have the will to do it, if someone is willing to do it, it should not be that big problem.
Regarding the Debian backend, as far as I understood, is your plan to actually automatically create or update Debian packages?
The Debian packages?
Yeah.
No, because there's no way to automatically, let's say, update the Debian packages. There's a lot of reasons why we should not do that. One of the reasons is that the tool is not perfect, not at all. There's a lot of corner cases that I don't cover that need more work. So maybe in 1 or 2 years it will be complete enough to almost blindly update the stuff, just check 3 things and upload. But that's, I mean, even if that's the case, we will never upload it automatically to Debian just right after an update. You still have to check, because when you upload to Debian, you commit that the quality of the package is matching the Debian quality. This is something that you are signing the package because you say you can trust me, I check it. So you cannot do it automatically. But that's, and for now, there's a lot of corner case. Stefan has produced quite a lot of bugs about these things should not go there, this one should not go there, this one should not go there. And I have a lot of work to fix all this to say, okay, the syntax extension should go in the dev package, not here, not here, not here, not here. And we have a lot of things to fix before the tool is good enough for us. And after that, we still have visual inspection of what has been changed by the tool. I don't know, maybe Stefan or Mehdi, but I don't know any teams that upload blindly after updating the package. So I think we won't do it. What?
I hope they are not.
Yeah, well, exactly.
There is one, but he's not active anymore.
Okay.
So,
Ashish?
so, I mean, this is great, first of all. I really like Cabal and Haskell, so I'm glad we have something like this in OCaml now. One problem I often had with Cabal is that I would end up sometimes in a state where the dependencies conflicted. Some library had this dependency, another library had another dependency on this different version of that same library, and I could never get out of it without just deleting all libraries and starting again. And so I don't know why that happened, and is there some analysis we can do to make sure this is avoided?
Yeah. So the question of Ashish is about the fact that at one you can end up with conflicting dependency. So in this case, let's say that you have 3 versions of flavor of distribution, like in the ODB panels that I show you. So for unstable, you will have the conflict, and we will almost made it on purpose, because we should allow people to download it anyway for the fast publishing experiment, and because the people that will need to fix their package will need to be able to download the conflicting package anyway. But for testing, we can in fact compute a set of packages that go together. So we can detect that you have no problem migrating a whole set of packages because their interdependency, even if you inject them in the new distribution, are okay. So I have made some experiment with detecting errors with ODB. This is quite effective. It doesn't take too long. I mean, it's under 100 milliseconds, so it's okay. I will refine it with times, so we will be able to detect dependency conflict and have a free flavor distribution where you have an unstable which is just everything which is latest, and a stable version where everything is tested and which is working together with no problem. But I would say that there will always be in this version where this kind of conflict will happen, and we will make it, I will make it on purpose. So yes, there's a possibility to do it, and there's a possibility to detect the conflict and to avoid it for other version. Okay. Daniel?
Regarding this problem, is it, for example, easy to maybe change the version number yourself on your own machine if you need to do that quickly, and then it downloads the right thing? Or
it's asking for trouble.
Do you mean how could you do to avoid being? How could you act directly in the thing?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to answer that, but well, you still have the possibility to download the tarball, and
is there an override mechanism?
yeah. So, in fact, everything is in place, but my demo is not working, so I cannot show you. Anyway, there's in fact OASIS, the command line version as it is now, is a multi-repository version. So you have, and with a priority for repository. And you've got the basic repository, which is the main website. And the other one, which got a higher priority, is the local repository. So for example, you can download the tarball, modify it, change the version, and upload, rather to upload it on the web, you will upload it on your local repository that will override, because it has higher priority, the version that is available on the website. And you will be able to do what you want, I think. Is it answering your question? Okay. So that's the way to hack it.
To install the ODB server?
No, you don't have to install the server.
It's just fine.
Yeah, it's just in fact you've got a cache, and in this cache you've got a synchronization file which lists all the files but don't download it. And this is basically the description of a repository. And you can have it on your own machine, and this is very small. In fact, you just have to create a repository. You have to create one directory per package. For example, foo, one version, one directory per version. For example, 1.0. Put the tarball in it, and you have two special files, which are storage.sex. Which are sex files describing what is inside. So for example, it says that the tarball name is that, and that the public link about this tarball is here. And this is a small description that you can write by hand, but in fact we have I already implemented automatic tools to do that. So you don't have, you just say that you register your project locally and you generate a new version. That's all. Any other question?
So one feature that is missing from Cabal is that you don't have Cabal uninstall.
Yeah, that's...
So do you plan to have similar
Yeah.
uninstall features at OASIS?
Yeah. Yeah, I plan, but I don't yet have it. You will, when you uninstall something, you will uninstall the reverse dependency of this thing, and that's all.
So I'm curious about your answer, because in order to implement uninstall, you need to track all the files that are being installed. Right?
Yeah.
So my understanding is that you don't actually list all the files in your _OASIS, you only list the sources.
You don't need, it's something separate.
So you sort of install to a local directory and then...
No, basically, you will, in fact, in fact, that's quite simple. Well, that's quite simple, not that simple. You have, in fact, you've got OASIS OCaml setup.ml install, and you have OASIS setup OCaml setup.ml.uninstall. And in fact, there's a file called setup.log, which is in the source repository, which contains all the files you have installed. So I can give you an example if you want. And this is something I use every day, so I'm not talking about something which doesn't work. It's quite frustrating to not be able to do the demonstration. Okay, so for example, I will take the one from OASIS itself, because it's, I think, quite representative. Okay, so for example, here is the thing which are built, and here is what I have installed. For example, you've got... Okay, so here is 2 lines where I said what I have installed. I said that I use FindLib to install OASIS, and I said that I've installed a file here, in my bin repository containing 3.11 stuff, which is OASIS. So using these 2 lines, if I make uninstall, it will precisely remove these 2 stuff, and only this. Here is my database about what I have installed. And if I install documentation, it will list all the files installed for the documentation. So I do have a database that can do this. It's already implemented. It's already working, in fact.
Yeah, perhaps from my experience with other package managers, have you thought about if you need post-activation and post-uninstall scripts, something like that?
We won't be as complete as this. I think we will. The main point about OASIS-DB is not to replace Godi or Debian. Okay, we must be clear about that. We will mainly focus about installing libraries and application useful to developers. Okay, so the post-installation script won't be useful in this case. It will more build documentation at most, but I don't think that there will be any automatic activation or thing like that. This is something for a real high-level package manager like DPKG or Godi, but we will stay away from this kind of trouble. There's a lot of complex thing about it. We will only stay in installing libraries. Sorry, it doesn't fit, but it's a design choice. You got the...
It's as a question of features. You have your own text format for the OASIS file.
Yeah.
Have you considered something like YAML?
What?
YAML.
YAML. Okay. So the question is that I designed my own format file for _OASIS, and why didn't I consider YAML? which is YAML, which is used by Perl for CPAN, if I remember correctly. Yes. The answer is quite simple. I didn't copy Perl, I copy Package. So in fact, if you go to Package and you take a Cabal file, you will see that it's almost the same. I got the same rule, in fact. For breaking lines, for dividing the file, I was reading the Cabal manual when I write OASIS. So it's a copy of Cabal and not a copy of YAML. So that's just it. I copy from somewhere, it was not YAML. Maybe next time. Any other question? Daniel?
About documentation, if you build it using OCaml doc, does it aggregate all the packages that you have installed to provide a unique?
No. No, it's a standard OCaml doc process. So basically, if you have an external, what you mean is that if you have an external link to a documentation, for example, if you use p3 regex in one.
I just mean that all that you
just install
when
at the same place.
To one page, you have the index of all the installed packages and the OCaml doc documentation. Because with OCaml doc you can output a kind of object.
Yeah. Okay.
The documentation,
okay.
And
I
then
see
you can aggregate.
No, we won't aggregate everything. It will generate the HTML documentation, for example, you describe,
Okay.
and it will install it in the default directory, and you will be able to browse it. But that's all. We won't use the dump object.
Yeah.
To aggregate and create a big documentation for a simple reason is that there's a lot of tools that don't come with OCaml doc enabled or that provide documentation which are outside OCaml doc. There's maybe one day, not now. If that's all, I will let Ashish do his talk. Thank you very much.